It's Thursday, July 29th, 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and thanks for joining us on today's issue of Let's Talk on Canal 24 Television. It's with great delight that we come each Thursday, of course, to discuss a topical issue or topical issues that concerns us all as human beings and, of course, as Cameroonians and even as individuals. But on today's edition of the program, we have two topics of discussion. You and I will not deny the fact that as human beings, as Africans, we live with some concepts in life. The most trendy one that has been on the roads in the towns of Cameroon is the use of charm in love relationships. For instance, I will quote the famous Kayamata incident in Buea. That's men using charm to make women using charm to make men love them, and of course love them like for good and provide everything they need. And our topic 2 of the day is going to be President Biya's visit to Swiss. What outcome? Talking about the use of charms in relationship, we shall be looking why people use charm, be it a man, be it a woman, why they use charms, and of course the impact this practice have on the people the charm is being used on. But before I go to introduce my men in the house, we'll go and get a short transition, then I come back to introduce the full house just after. Welcome back, beautiful people. If you are just joining us, you have not missed anything. You are live on Let's Talk on Canal 24 Television, your weekly English language program that takes place as from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. Central African Time. We are here in the studio. Of course, with your collaboration, we know that we are going to be having fruitful discussions this afternoon. I'm not alone in the house, or I want to remind us on the topics of today. We are talking about relationships and the use of charm, and the topic 2 of today is going to be Biya's visit to Swiss. What impact? But I'm not alone in the house. As usual, I am blessed. I have 3 gentlemen. We have a lady of honor that will be popping in here just anytime from now. I'll start with the man on my extreme right. He is in white. He's Dr. Eric Shamon. He's a lecturer in one of our state universities. Doctor, you're welcome.
Hello, hello Frida. Hello to the other co-panelists, to the viewers. It's always an honor to be invited here, and it's a pleasure to talk about one of the most pressing issues. And perhaps to also say that there are not a lot of channels that debate in English in the capital city. So it's always an honor to be invited here.
You're welcome. And my closest neighbor to my left is no one else but Clement Chepono. He is a PhD fellow in political anthropology. You know, when we talk political anthropology, we talk politics, we talk human beings. Clement, you're welcome.
Thank you, Frida, for always making me to this rendezvous. I equally wish to acknowledge my co-panelists and the viewer out there that we are here because they are equally there, and that it is very important to debate. It might be discussed on important topical issues like the ones you just listed, and I equally wish to use this opportunity to thank all those who are working for peace to return to our country, be in the north, be it in the northwest or the southwest. I equally want to pay allegiance to the Ngokutunja youth who are really working seriously on peace to return in their division, and equally raising funds to see how they can support school resumption back in their division.
All right, you're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, my closest neighbor to my right is Ernest Akufor. He is a civil society activist, and of course, the doyen, Mr. Akufor. You're welcome.
Thank you, Frida. It takes delight to be on this set every time I'm here to talk topical issues of the nation. I want to especially salute the women, the Cameroonian women who are converging at the conference center in Yaoundé to preach and seek for peace in this nation. You know what the woman wants. We know God wants it. And since the Cameroonian women have said, this is not the first time, this is not the second time, this is not the third time But this time around, they've come out in their numbers, and they feel that they must preach, cry, wail. And you know, when a woman wails in the African context, you know, things are too bad. I just wish them well, and hoping that some people somewhere are hearing, and not only hearing, but will take action after hearing them.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the man in the house. So our lady just walked in. I'll give her time to catch her breath. But we'll go right. We want to start a program with a teaser. You know, something historic just happened in Cote d'Ivoire. That's seen former President Laurent Gbagbo, who was detained for long, meeting face to face with the current president, and we're discussing and like some kind of peace. Dr. Eric, what lesson did you draw from that reunion?
Well, remember that the Ivory Coast has been through a lot. We had, since the 2010 elections, there have been a lot of, let's say, instability. And there was really need for reconciliation. So in that meeting, you saw the current head of state and his most, I can say, most radical rival, who came together with smiles, trying to calm the political atmosphere. So the question we ask as Cameroonians, that why don't we see this in Cameroon? Why can't we see the head of state of Cameroon meeting an opposition leader? But that's even too much to ask. Even meeting his own ministers, we can go that low. He don't see with these ministers. He don't see with anybody. So that's the question we are beginning to ask. Why don't we see this kind of picture? And the answers are easy to understand. There are perhaps two simple answers. One, the same person has confiscated power for 40 years. So it's hard to see a head of state who can meeting an ex-head of state, because there's no ex-head of state. You know, one person has used the institutions to take power by force, using what we call fake elections and change of constitution. The second thing is that this person considers himself as a god. He said that there are these creatures, so nobody is good enough, no Cameroonian is good enough to stand before him and talk around the microphone and smile. Unfortunately, that's where we are. And we think that this situation has to change. We believe that with the democracy we are fighting for, we should have a situation where presidents and ex-presidents can meet and talk. And then you will see that just that kind of atmosphere will create the scenario for a more stable and prosperous country.
All right, Mr. Kufro, you know, when I was watching that, I was like thinking, if this may happen someday, our president must not forcefully meet a former president. Maybe he can decide to have a talk with the leaders of the separatist fighters. Do you think, can you imagine that scenario taking place?
Frida, that's a soul-searching question there. Soul-searching in the sense that to some of us Africans, I mean, well, I've never been a president, but I want to say to some African presidents, just as Dr. Eric was saying, they consider themselves demigods. So much so that when they cling onto power, they see nobody else, because the people venerate them and think that they are everything to them. He even say that he calls them their creation, because when somebody creates you, you worship the person. So our heads of states are already being worshipped. Coming back to your question as whether the president could meet separatist leader, I want to say it's not dependent on the president, it's dependent on his entourage. You know, the meet in 2010 between President Biya and Ni John Fundi. Yes, I call it a meet because since the 90s, there were ombudsmen that were always there seeing to it that the two never meet, because if they met, all of their goodies, the things they used to get there, they will all disappear. Until 2010, when both met, you saw the conviviality between them. But again, I want to say that was a small screen. What followed thereafter? Yes, the important thing is not between what happened between Gbagbo and Ouattara. The important thing is what is the ensuing Because if what comes thereafter is not fruitful for the benefit of the masses, it will serve no purpose. Because we know when they hawk at each other there, they talk the same language. But do the people down there understand that language? I begin to doubt. The President Biya meeting separate it's doable.
Right.
But the entourage, as I tell you, they don't want the president to move. Since 2016, if the president were somebody who was allowed to be free, he ought to have either gone to Buea or Menda already. But he keeps sending the same people, they go and come and tell the very lies. Because if they were coming and telling him the truth, between 2016 and 2021, we wouldn't be where we are with the atrocities. Because
no, sorry, you cannot say that Mr. Biya doesn't know the truth. Let's not play politics. Mr. Biya knows what is happening in the Northwest and Southwest. It's not the people, it's him. It starts from the leadership. If the leadership wants to know what is happening, they know. Does Mr. Biya not follow TV when we are talking, both of you? Think that he listens to those people?
Well, Doctor...
you're very right. There are people that we don't know. We know the president. He's the one who claimed to have been elected.
You're very right. You're very right there because... No, I mean interruption. You're very right there because even when he tells people to implement certain decisions, they don't implement them. For sure, he has instructed the people to do certain things in the field, but they go and do the contrary.
It's his fault.
Yes. Nevertheless, it is incumbent on the president, all of what is happening in Cameroon, because he is the head, and being the head means he shoulders the responsibility. I'm just tying in with what Doctor is saying, but before he bears the responsibility, his entourage bears most of the responsibility, because if they don't relate it and if they don't apply what he intends to be applied, we will obviously get into the quagmire in which we find ourselves.
The actions of Chair Bono, what ran through your mind when you saw that scenario in Cote d'Ivoire?
Well, it's something that we do appreciate. I think those are moments that emotions that really touch us from our heart, and those are things we would like to be seeing in many places around the world, in Africa and even out of Africa. You know, Africans are those type of the people, the race of people who believe in dialogue, who believe in conviviality. And when I saw that, I saw a joy in both faces. You know, one has been president, the other one has been prime minister to the then, and then this time around is his prime minister being his president, and then the same president who asked him to be out of the country for 10 years, and then the two meeting is something that is historic and very, very important to the life of Ivorians. The only issue I might add to it is that it should not be one said, it should not be a window dressing. It should be something that should be inculcated, and the impact should be felt by the local people. Coming back to our situation in Cameroon, you know, our own president, in his own little way, has always shown the will of that type of a person who brings people together. Like Tanya said, in 2010, we saw how President Paul Biya and the iconic Nijon Fundi came together in a convivial way, and then that was something very nice. And then we've been seeing how he too has been doing that with other political leaders, like Issa Churuma Bakari. You see, he's a political leader of opposition. You see Jean Didier Momo, political leader of an opposition. You see how he's always with them, trying to see how we can make the country work. So,
but we all know what those other political parties represent. The party of Issa Churuma and Jean Didier Momo, they are all amalgamated political parties into the city.
That is what you say, but what I know is that it's they are political, they are opponent to the
Are you counting? Are you just referring to the time that they greet him every year? Because I don't remember they are meeting these people. Are you talking about at the end of the year greetings where ministers come and shake the hand? Is that what you are referring to?
No, I try to see your point,
yeah,
but what you are feeling, I'm not
one-on-one.
What you are saying is that maybe you want to relent yourself on TV.
Okay.
TV should not be the only avenue where you meet. You and I will be meeting. Hasn't been on TV.
No, don't say that.
So they must not meet.
So you cannot
No, they must not come on TV to come and say that I'm meeting with you. That would be belittling you. If you are saying that, if you want to limit yourself to the media,
you cannot
have a ministers that you don't meet with them. So he meet with his ministers. But unless you want, if you are counting on TV, no, be serious.
It's not. You don't need to say that information.
You want to limit yourself to the media. I remember that. No, it's not politics. When you say they have not been meeting,
tell us when they have been met. What information do you have that I don't have as a Cameroonian?
No, as a Cameroonian, I know that a president and his ministers, they meet. They meet, the president called them to his cabinet, they talk on things that concern Cameroon. Unless you know the problem we have with most political parties that are of the opponent, they want cheap popularity. You understand? They want avenues that they will make noise over the social media, where they will make noise on TV, where they will make that is not politics.
That's debate for another day. Thank you, gentlemen, for reacting. That was our teaser for the day. We'll go and get a short transition, then come to have a press release just thereafter. Welcome back, beautiful people. We went for a short transition to welcome the goddess of the day who just made her way into the studio. It's the first time she's coming here, and I'm so happy, so delighted to have her here. She is no one else, but I would like to call her by that name. She's Precious Piper, because when I call her that name, many people will be like, Precious Piper, the famous Precious Piper, has graced the set of Let's Talk this afternoon. Precious, you're welcome.
Hello, Frida.
How have you been?
I'm fine. I'm just happy being here. And it seems like I'm the only lady here.
No, Frida is a
I'm
lady.
also a lady.
No, I'm being
Invite a
like,
lady.
I'm on the
like the people punching the words.
Thank you for backing me up. At least we are two now. I'm not alone. All right. Up next, while we give Precious time to grab her breath, we'll go to have a press review. If it's ready in the machines, you send forth the papers. Okay, our press. Right, please, can you zoom? We have the first paper on the screen is a Sun newspaper with major caption: SDO Amber Boys Brawl in Bali plunge businessmen and inhabitants into despair. Paper 2 for today's review is going to be the Guardian Post. There on your screen, which says armed conflict in Northwest Southwest. Outcry as government targets francophones, fronting end to military option. Paper 3 for today is going to be Cameroon Echoes, which tells us this afternoon that University of Buea plagiarism scandal hit PhD defense session. We are moving on to the media newspaper, which says war of cessation. Betty Asomo get west as more soldiers fall in battle. Eden comes up with a reconsider ban. Frustrated Bamenda Ekok road users pledged with ambers with separatists urge government to reconsider ban on motorbikes in Bali. Okay, we are seeing the media newspaper on the screen. The media newspaper says war of secession. From Median, we've had the Median already. Can you please move to the next paper? We're going to Eden newspaper on the screen. If we can't have Eden, and where Eden says reconsider ban, we've had Eden already. Please, can we move to the Guardian Post, the last copy of the Guardian Post for today's review? last copy of the Guardian Post. Okay, the last copy of the Guardian Post says armed conflict in Northwest, Southwest, asking the question if things are falling apart for government. This is because all the military and force that the government has tried to use to calm down the war in the English-speaking regions of the country seems to be hitting on rocks. This is how we saw it. Let our men in the house make an evaluation. Welcome back, beautiful people. Of course, you know that you can send your contributions via SMS to the numbers on the bars of our television screen. When I was doing the review, something captured my attention. It concerns education. It talks about the University of Buea and plagiarism scandal. So I'll start with Dr. Thank God I have him here. He's a guidance counselor, and Dr. is a lecturer. Doctor, when we talk of scandal at the level of a PhD, plagiarism, what kind of students are we raising if at this level somebody should plagiar without authority?
Yeah.
What's future?
Yeah, first of all, I think it's a very important topic that has to be discussed. I think there should be a complete session to discuss plagiarism, because the truth is that I've had the privilege to be in some private schools and in the government system. I can tell you that 95% of articles written by Cameroonian students at every level is plagiarized. For two reasons. One, people don't understand plagiarism. Second, they are not trained. They are not trained to write an original article. For example, I'll give an example. If I tell students to write on the Anglophone crisis, let's say an any essay, a document of 2 pages, what they would do is that they would go to the internet, type Anglophone crisis, select articles, maybe what people have written, they copy and paste from this, and they write a whole article. If you do that, and even if you put the reference, it's plagiarism, because the work is not original. It's not your work.
It's not yours.
So there's a problem of, and now when you expand this to thesis, because in the thesis you write an introduction, which is you introduce the topic. Go to 90% of thesis and dissertation and everything is plagiarized. They write stuff, and what I discover, the better it is written, the more likely it's plagiarized. That if you see an article where it's smoothly written, and you do a plagiarism test, you will discover that most of it is just copy and paste from the internet. So then how do you get out of that? You have to train people how to write originally. I tell them one thing you can do is draw an outline of what you want to write. If you want to write about Anglophone crisis, ask yourself, what can I communicate about this crisis? You make an outline. Now you are not expected to know everything from your head, but once you put an outline, you now search under the first topic of your outline. If your outline, the first topic is lawyer issues, you search where you have that. You now write your own article synthesizing all what you have heard about lawyers and referring to that. At the end of that, if you follow that pattern, by the time you write a complete document, there will be no plagiarism, because you have referenced the topic. You have made original research of what people have written. But that's not what happened. So if the University of Buea is calling attention to that, or the media is calling attention to that, I think that it should be a thorough review of the system. Before I conclude this, I want to let people understand, because we used to consider ourselves isolated, but now we are in a more global world. It's not more than, I think, 6 years ago that 2 ministers in Germany resigned. And why did they resign? Because one of them was minister until I don't know whether he had his politics. Somebody who was a political guy went back to his dissertation that he wrote many years ago when he had his PhD, and did a plagiarism test and discovered it was plagiarized, and then published it on the newspaper, and the minister could not handle that. He resigned. It happened also with another minister in Germany. And I tell my students that you are never free. Maybe you might become a great person today. You can write a thesis, even an article, and dump somewhere, nobody will say anything. One day you become the head of an NGO, and you anger somebody. The person can go back to your dissertation and prove that you are plagiarized. So the world is global, information is out there, and what you write will be published. Make sure you do it right, because if you don't do it right, one day you might be held accountable. And so it's I think the universities have to really look,
So
organize
simple.
sessions to train people how to write original articles.
So aside that, what else caught you in the press?
Well, what else caught me in the press is the failing war. Unfortunately, they are calling Obasanjo to save the situation. I think maybe the government is beginning to realize what we have been saying 5 years ago, that military action cannot work in the northwest and the southwest. And it's very sad to see the number of our military and many armed forces falling every day in the north and southwest. And I'll quote what Ms. Pa was saying. I know that Ms. Pa is the president of the female wing of the CRM. She was saying that if we had an organized system, most of these guys who call Amber fighters would have been in the military helping to fight Boko Haram in the north. We saw how many people fell again from the Boko Haram war.
Yeah.
Cameroon is not capable of winning any of this war if we are not united. They are certainly not capable of winning the war in the north and the south because it's a asymmetric war. The US pulled out of Vietnam. They are pulling out of Afghanistan. They are pulling out of Iraq. You cannot win people in their locality, no matter how strong your military is. We don't have a military 100 the strength of the U.S. Army. We are never going to win a war against Cameroonian people in their territory. It's impossible. So let's go back to a
drawing board.
Yes, we should go to a drawing board and start with a dialogue. It's a political situation that can solve the problem in the northwest and the southwest. And the earlier Yaoundés understand this, the better, because it's very, very, very hard and very wrong to tell one more Cameroonian, one more family, to lose a member in the northwest and the southwest. It's immoral for the president of Cameroon to continue to send children in a battlefield when the only outcome is their death, because these people are going to be killed, and the children of the northwest and southwest will be killed, people will be displaced. It is wrong. We have to stop the war and get back to dialogue and look for a true solution to the Anglophone crisis. And that's why the best way for us to move forward, if the president is not capable of doing it, is for us to ask for his resignation. There's nothing wrong in resigning and stepping down and living a life like a civilian. Many have done that, and that they have lived a happy life after that. Obasanjo, who is being invited, because one of the ministers talk about him, is having the largest dairy farm in Africa, in the world. I was getting an article that said he makes more than $250,000 a month after becoming a farmer. He was an ex-president. He's now a farmer. He's making more than the president of the US, Japan, France, Cameroon, all of that put together. Mr. Biya can do the same. He says he can do pineapple. He should make his pineapple farm and become the best pineapple producer in the world. He will be better off like that, and he will have his family with him. Why is he pushing Cameroonians and children of Cameroon into a senseless and a bloody war? It's a question we must ask, and we must try to stop.
Victoric, Precious Piper, any catchy stuff on the newspaper?
The truth is, we found a lot of copy and paste, let me use that word, nowadays, from the writings right down to the works that we do down here. And it's become like a tradition. As he earlier said that there'll be time where by the time you be the owner of an NGO, you become the big minister somewhere, the president somewhere. That same work that you copied somewhere is going to land you into prison. And it's become like a lifestyle where people don't want to work again.
Laziness.
People don't want to get doing research. And it's become that kind of a thing where if you tell someone like you copying me, they look at it like
You
everything is being copied. Nothing is new.
What's new?
Well, nothing is new. So it's killing from the writing, because they are making us understand that in Africa or Cameroon in general, we don't have brains again.
Yeah.
We don't have purpose. We don't have a vision. We don't even know what we are up to when we get to a certain field in what we are doing. So I just believe that if we can go back and sit down and know what we want in everything that we're doing, from writing to work of arts to the science, if we can go back and sit down, draw our plan, action, and know how to step, I believe that better things are going to come up.
Mr. Guardian Councillor, so what's on the news? Were you satisfied, or there was something you would have loved to see in the papers?
Well, since as a guidance counselor and as a PhD student and as a fellow, I was so touched by the issue of plagiarism, which has become an order of the day in most of our universities around. The issue we have in Cameroon nowadays is that students are lazy. They want to get a degree that they cannot defend. They want to have a master's degree that they cannot defend. And instead of thinking of a possibility of how you educate yourself in such a way that you gain skills that you can just want to, maybe you get to the job market and be doing something, they prefer certificates. The urge for certificate, when you go for certificate, they just want to hurry up in 1-2 years to have something. So that is why you see they will pick from there, they will pick from the other side to put in place so that they can do something. And you see, most often students in the university, there is a course when you are at the research level that is called methodology. In that methodology, they teach you how the different methods in which you use in writing. They tell you how you can organize your writing and make it original. So if you can find such things happening, it's because the students doesn't want to work in the first place.
They sit in their comfort zone.
They sit in their comfort zone. The computer too, with the phones that have made everything easy. You know that you can mislead your supervisor by just picking 1-2 things from elsewhere that has never happened. Some even go as far as go in articles, documents that were written in Spanish, Latin, and other languages, translate them and then forgetting to know that is still plagiarism. So it is really something we need to cry. We need to cry for. And then the other thing that really caught my attention in the newspapers this week was about Barrister Michelle Nduki. The tendencies that she's about to create her own party and something of that nature. I think it's really disturbing in Cameroon, because it's everybody that wants to become a leader. You think everybody wants to create his own political party. You are in a political party, let's say the MRC. It's already a good political party. You might have differences with the leader of the party or other members of the party, but you can still be able to convince people with your idea. It does not mean that you must go out to create a political party that will. No, it's funny. We know that there is political freedom in Cameroon, freedom of expression, freedom of that, but it's really becoming something problematic in Cameroon. Everybody wants to own a political party, and the end of it all, when you have even that political party, what do you do with it? And then another thing that I wanted to is that the political leaders too, they should try to see how they can always have that spirit of dialogue, the type of dialogue, the spirit of dialogue that President Paul Biya has, always bringing people together to talk with them. Dialogue. You know, these people fall off when there is no dialogue. And when they fall off like that, where do they go to? They come back to the CBDM. It's not good. The political leaders, they should create an avenue where they can always have constant dialogue. If you have issues, sit with your brother of the same party, talk it out, look for perspective, and then the two can work together rather than creating parties that will not even. Just after the presidential election, where Professor Maurice Kamto and his party participated, after that, how many people have resigned from the party? How many people are creating their party? The same thing that was happening with the SDF is happening to the MRC, which is not good. It's not something we should appreciate. Where are we going to? When we fight in diverse fronts, our fight doesn't have power. But when we fight in concentrated effort, you see that the fight can easily go through. That, for me, I think is even distraction for the MRC. When you see these people, this person falling off this way, this person falling off, the CBDN will always gain, because when they drop like that, they come back to the CBDN and they keep working. So my advice to them is that they should sit and be focused.
The CPDM has its hands open.
You see, most often when they resign like that, where do they go to? Look at this former parliamentarian of Douala. He came back to the CPDM. So
Mr. Akufo.
Yes, talking about the issue of plagiarism, you see, it's becoming a daily issue, and this is happening just because our society is too certificate oriented. You see, people want to get certificates which they cannot back up. Yes, because at times when you look at some students who've gotten their first degree, they are unable to construct a good sentence in the English language or in the French language, you begin to ask yourself, did they go to the university or the university went through them? And then not to talk of those who are having their master's degree or professional degree or doctor degree. At times you begin to ask yourself, is this a doctor? Is this a quack or is it a doctor? So it meets my imagination. And all of these things, as a doctor and my friend has rightly said, I think it just goes to show the level of falling standards of education in our society. And there is a dire need for something to be done. And if nothing is done at that stage, with a fast-growing world, because today we want to leave the blame on the ICTs, because people just sit on their armchair, scroll on their phone, touch their computer keyboard, and then everything is at their doorstep. I want to say we should get out of the box and do something better, else the educational system will crumble. As he already said in Quarry, this issue of leadership in Cameroon, very many people think that to have an influence, you must always be at the head, forgetting to know that even down there you can influence. Yes, and that's what it all shows, the greed which people are living through. People are too hungry, because I want to call that people want to do politics of the stomach. Yes, because it beats my imagination that somebody you stood for, you even almost lost your life for, suddenly you are falling out with the person just because you have some proposal somewhere. Some people are telling you, no, can you do this, so as to weaken the person. We still lack a lot of political education in this country, and if we don't get to that, educating the political leaders and then educating the population who vote those leaders, because at times when you ask somebody, why do you vote, why do you want to vote for this leader, the person is unable to tell you why he's voting for the leader, but just feels that he must vote for that leader.
Yeah, your instincts.
Yes.
You just get that, you look
Whereas
let me just
politics or political parties are created to aim to get to power. And going to power means you must have a political program which you present to the people. The people buy the program, then they vote you into office. But it's rather unfortunate that for 4 decades now in Cameroon, we keep singing the same song and nothing is changing. And then, as he rightly said, that people, when they resign from those parties, they get back to the CPDM. I even think we shouldn't be talking multi-party in Cameroon anyway, but we want to talk of one-party multi-partyism in Cameroon, if I can use that tautology. Yeah, because in Cameroon, we're talking about 360 political parties, which ought to be ideologies, but they all center towards one thing, the stomach. So it's needless talking about creating political parties, all of that are all smoke screens.
Tanya, I even want to think that if the people are coming back to the CPDM, it's because their own political ideology serves. They have seen interest. They have seen that it is a political ideology. That
you want to cook meat.
Debate for another day, ladies and gentlemen. We are dashing into topic 1 of the day, which stands for relationships and the use of charm. You know, we are Africans, we are Cameroonians. We see what happens on a daily basis. Some things happen and you ask yourself, what? At times you look at the man, you look at the wife, did this man really get married? Was he in his right senses, and vice versa? Okay, recently we have something that's been trendy in the papers, in the news, in the social media, which is it Kayamata stuff in where that's young girls, 15, 16, you can name them. In fact, ladies using the almighty Kayamata to entice men, to enchantment. What is Kayamata? It's an audio, I could not bring it here. It's a love potion. It has a chain, it has lipstick, it got powder, it got perfume, and all what you leg chain, the waist chain, a pack of it, and it says the man, wow, like he gets attached. The question we're asking is there need for this? Why do people use them? We took time to get 1 or 2 persons to say if really they believe in such. So we'll go to our machines to have the videos, then we come to dive into discussion proper. Est-ce que vous croyez que la magie noire, le charme et le vaudou existent dans les relations humaines, monsieur?
Oui, bien sûr que oui, le charme et le vaudou, la magie noire, tout cela existe dans la tradition africaine et aussi dans les relations humaines. Je vais prendre le cas de ma famille où j'en ai eu l'exemple où mon oncle a épousé une femme et qui a fait ces pratiques injustes, traditionnelles, et on en est arrivé à un mariage. Mais en ce moment, mon oncle il m'a révélé qu'il est en train de vivre des moments vraiment difficiles. Et il regrette pourquoi il a épousé cette femme. Donc il voudrait un peu, s'il pouvait rentrer en arrière. Mais là maintenant il ne peut plus. Puisque le divorce en Afrique, au Cameroun, présentement, ce n'est pas une chose facile.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, madame.
Est-ce que vous croyez que le charme existe dans les relations humaines?
Bien sûr, pour moi, je pense que le charme existe dans les relations humaines parce que ici en Afrique, la magie nous est innée. Donc, on ne peut rien faire sans la magie. Et il y a une catégorie de personnes qui aimeraient toujours faire des choses qui ne sont pas à leur portée. Alors, ils sont obligés de faire recours à la magie, recours à la sorcellerie pour satisfaire leurs fins. Merci.
Yes, good morning. Do you believe that the use of charms in relationships do exist?
Yes, I do believe that charms do exist, be it in relations, be it in business, in any other form, so many forms. I have so many examples, even though I can't start reciting them here for security reasons. Charms, they do exist. We are Africans now. Even witchcraft, you can't take away witchcraft out of Africa. We are born with it and we are going to live with it and we are going to die with it, no matter the Christian life or the spiritual life we claim we are into. Charm, just like witchcraft, does exist in Africa. We Africans, we are living with it.
Welcome back, beautiful people. Those were images gotten here in the nation's political capital, and those were men reacting to our question of the day. Of course, they all confirmed that charms really do exist. The big question, the $1 billion question we're asking ourselves now is, why do people, be it a man, be it a woman, why do people use charms? First, doctor, I like starting from my right. Do you believe that such things do exist?
Well, for me, it's a very difficult question. Honestly, it's a difficult question for one simple reason. We have to really look at the socio-cultural context of our nation and of our country, of our culture and everything, and begin to ask serious questions. You know, when we talk of charm, what do we really mean? Is it, are we talking there?
We are talking of Tobasi, we are talking of voodoo, we are talking
so
of black
words,
magic.
Somebody without any physical contact, without any manipulation, would force another person to love him. That is what we are talking about. We're talking about black magic, we're talking about people without physical manifestation. We cause something to happen that doesn't have any external physical force acting on it. In other words, you are disproving Newton's laws of motion when it comes to physics. You are breaking down all the science we understand.
Not me.
But there are two things that to me is obvious in all of this, and it's not just about charm or about magic or everything, but in even the analysis, when you talk about an analysis on articles talking about human generosity, human actions to help another, there's almost one thing that emerges. It's always a woman that is either the bad person. In other words, we'll talk about charm, the whole thing, the discussion is centered about women charming their men.
I'm not taking sides. I said both
Yeah,
either
you said
side,
both
be
parties,
the man,
but that's
be the
what the
woman.
community thinks.
No.
But read about stories in Facebook. I'm sure you have accounts, social media. Every time you have a story where somebody comes like a savior to help someone, they will talk about a woman that was doing something and then a certain man. I was reading a recent one that a young boy wanted to share tracts in the village, just not in Africa, in the European country, but solely getting back in Africa. Was going to share tracts on a rainy day. The dad was a pastor. Eventually, the dad said it was too raining. Don't go and share this tract. He forcefully went, and then after sharing the last tract, he went to a home that was closed. He knocked. Somebody was about to commit suicide, so he handed this tract to the woman. And then next day, during a testimony in church, the woman came out, and I asked myself, why is it always women saving women?
At least we have a man.
And then it comes to the answer. It comes to one simple: we're in a patriarchal society. Everything centers around the man, and the woman is just the other part of the story. When something happens, the woman is always the bad guy. Every time you hear that a witch has appeared on the ceiling or whatever, again, it's a woman. Therefore, we must ask this thing: is it really true, or is that there's some cultural thing in us that the woman
must be painted
is
black,
considered to be bad and witch? And we don't hear about wizards, we hear about witches and everything. And when we start asking the serious question and we start going into detail, you see that most of those things are nothing. I can have a disagreement with you, and it's a story of witchcraft will be manufactured around that disagreement, and the man will come out victorious, because that is our nature. We are in a patriarchal society. Everything. Now, talking about charm and love, I think anybody can fall in love with anybody. Even science cannot understand love, because love now is emotional and it's something. If an old man fall in love with a young lady or vice versa or whatever, it can just be like that. It happens. People fall in love, and maybe men are more likely to fall in love with many people at the time than a woman. So there are many women now to accuse that have charmed the guy or whatever. So we have to look at this thing. And then another thing that we have to highlight, and it's unfortunate, is that this culture of magic and charm and all of this is now reinforced with religion. Religion is not counteracting this, it's reinforcing this. Because when you go to a church or to a holy place of worship, there's the idea that there's a dark cabinet that's about to destroy you. You know, there's a dark cabinet, there's some person there that's responsible for your failure, your business is not passing, we need to pray for you because X, Y, and Z. Subconsciously, we are creating the image that there's some supernatural force, a dark cabinet, that you need some spiritual fight to win it. In other words, it's not the obvious that you can see. There's something other than what you can see and what you can explain logically. And then it directly fits into that narrative that there are charms, there are magics, there are all of that. And again, who is the victim again of this manipulation? Women. It's women that populate these churches. It's the men pastors that push this agenda. And so at the end of the day, when we can take a critical look and look at all of this, I can tell you, Frida, if you don't attack somebody physically, all the other thing that you hear is noise. It has no basis, it has no principle. And I even told one of my friends, those and my relatives that are very close to the church, I think that if God were listening to prayers, as we claim, the world would have been ended. Because when people stand to pray, they declare wars on their enemies. If God were listening and I declare fire on that, fire will explode somewhere. Everybody will be declaring fire and everything will be over. So this whole part, we really need to educate ourselves and know that people are responsible for their action. We are Homo sapiens. God gave us the ability to think. And then after that, we are now supposed to use our knowledge and to explain things. If we were that powerful in witchcraft, how did we get colonized? How did the white come with just a gun and dominate us? So me, I don't believe, I have to be clear, at the end of the day, I don't believe in witchcraft, I don't believe in magic, I don't believe in anything out of what can be explained by physics. Now, is there metaphysics? Yes. We have seen, there's what we call hypnotism. Yeah. Because some people will talk about that. I believe in that. And in hypnotism is just somebody taking control of your mind. That's all it's all about. Using words and everything. It doesn't have magical power. If you are firm in your belief, in your position, you will not be hypnotized. You will not. It's when you open your mind to emotions and everything, and somebody uses some specific word to drive your mind into a subconscious part, and you start reacting without being controlled. That's the only thing closest to me to metaphysics. The rest, as I'm concerned, is a bunch of malarkey.
That was Doctor's reaction. Precious Piper, do you think charm, voodoo, call it tobacco, call it...
The truth is, we are living spiritual world, same as the physical world, we like it or not. Before something manifests, let me say in the physical, there's something that happens behind the scene. Let's take the example where you have a project and you have to work on the ground. When you work on the ground, what people see at the end is just the success.
The finished
They
product.
don't see that struggle. That's the same thing where there are people who have planned actions. Those planned actions where every individual is not like you. So if some lady sits somewhere or some man sits somewhere and want to have something and he can't have it, and there are people, as we were talking before, that laziness is the talk of the day. So they can have it by hook or by crook. So the most important thing is they have to get to somebody who is more powerful than them, who understand something that is in that person more than they understand. And by the time they get there, say, Baba, as we see in the Nigerian films, that I need this, I need this, I need this. And things are happening you don't understand. That's why many times in our life we see things happening and we don't have control over them, because there is the spiritual part of it. So when you sit down and things are happening, you did every effort to make sure that everything should go right, but you see things going wrong. That's where I can say yes, those things exist. And those ladies, they do it, and those things happen. They happen.
They testify.
From the men, okay, you were talking about the pastors. They are the good pastors as well as the bad pastors. You see, you said most of the women are victims of these things. That means that those people know they are attracting the opposite side of them. When they get to that area where they say, okay, this is a liquid, maybe it's a perfume, maybe it's a stone, maybe
just rub the powder.
Where we are living, everything has power. From stone to water to grass to everything has power. That's why they said, man, when God created man, he said what? You should do what? I give you dominion. That means you are the one. That's why you see that the man is practicing magic and God is just worshiping. Because he has given you power. He will only come when he sees that you need an assistant. You say, because he wants you to have a say over everything that you're doing. So when you are ignorant about the spiritual aspect of it, what do you expect? The only thing that will happen is that those things you were talking of, hypnotizing and all of that, they will manifest. They are not words. They are not simple words as you think. Those words are in control with the grass that you see around you. They are in control with the water that you see around you. They are in control with the stones that you see around you. And once you have that mentality that you are in the simple world, I bet you those kayamata and everything, they will walk on you like wildfire, like the wind that is blowing.
Doctor is a scientist.
I know.
Anything that's not scientifically proven.
I understand that when I'm talking about those things walking like wildfire or wind, when we get down, maybe you're a doctor, they pick this thing and go and study that this is. And once we have not understood, you as a doctor, you have not had that proof, you are blank. That's where science fails. That's where science fails. And the black magic and everything that we are seeing is science. Because the white two are practicing all of these and they're telling us that it's technology, which is false. Meanwhile, it's black magic. So
white magic.
So, yes, what is happening is, when you have not understood the kayamata and the charms and everything, the only thing is that the science have not reached that level. They haven't understood, so they have the failure there. So yes, the kayamata is working, the black magic is working, and those things are happening.
All the top basses. Mr. Kufo, African man, well embedded. Can this kayamata stuff, do you really think it does exist?
Yes.
For me, I believe it does.
Yes. We are Africans and Bantus par excellence. You see, there's no denying the fact that these things don't exist. I've lived in that context, but not a victim to say so, and seen how it does work. Doctor was trying to maybe downplay it, saying that since it's not scientifically proven, it doesn't exist. I want to say even in our law courts today, black magic is being proven. Yes, in our law courts, black magic is being proven. So this Kayamata issue, and as he says, he has a right to his opinion. It is when you believe.
It is when you believe. That's true.
When you give in, then you queue up with it. But when you don't give in, it doesn't affect you.
When they are using it on you, you are not even aware. Then how do you believe?
Excuse me. If you already attached to it, yes, because they say if you don't drink poison, you won't die. Yes, but when you get in to take poison, you're obviously going to die. So when you believe that those things can work, either positively or negatively, know that they will work on you. But if you don't believe, as he rightly said, you won't get it. It's just like this palaver of COVID-19, whether it is the traditional medicines, whether it is the vaccines, whether it is this vaccine or that vaccine. It all depends on the individual. Whether you are going in for the vaccine, whether you are taking the treatment, the scientific treatment or the African treatment, it depends on the individual. Because somebody will tell you, oh, I cannot take those herbs, you cooking and drinking, but I rather prefer to go to the chemist and take injections and take drugs and all the like. It depends on the individual. And when you want to force someone who has his or her conviction to go the other way, it will obviously not hold. So all of these things of what you said happened in Boya, those are real things which do happen in life. And it is only when the person practicing and the person unto whom it is being practiced, because you can practice on somebody, it doesn't work.
I mean the person who has his own green bar on his body.
The truth is
because you see all these charms, even the ones they put in food, at times when you get there, the marabouts, they'll tell you, okay, take this, you put when you want to sell food and all that.
Put the pants under the flask and
so
stuff like
all
that.
of those things, it is first when you, the person taking it, you believe that, okay, what I'm taking to do this, this is what I intend to do. It works for you. But when you don't believe it, everything is in that subconscious mind, that you believe that, okay, I want to charm this person, let me do everything, either I'm putting something in food, either, all of those things. So it's that belief. I think it's the belief in it all.
I want to say something before you do. I just believe that ignorance sometimes can be a pain in the neck, and it can be a big challenge as time goes on. Believe it could be true, but there is that aspect where when you are ignorant, whether you believe that thing is existing or not, so far as practice on you, and you are, as you said, you don't have, let me say, a round 4, it will work on you.
Yeah, this question is really interesting.
It's a societal issue, and it happened in Boya. Yeah. It is already everywhere. Yeah. That was just a case of Boya that was revealed. Yeah. Then we have them. Those chains, I saw them on my phone. I've seen them on people's waists. I've seen them on their legs, and guys are like,
we are
getting afraid.
We are in Africa. We are Africans, and each society has its own cultural elements that they do believe in. And as African society, I would not like that we call it black magic, witchcraft. That is knowledge. In our different cultures, we have knowledge that we can exploit to do so many good things as well as so many bad things. Some of this knowledge that we have in our culture, some people could use it to do more things that are very good, but they use it for the negative part of it. It means that if you can work for the good, you can work for the bad. Those are cultural elements that exist everywhere. Each culture, each society has those elements that they believe in. This Kayamata stuff, charm stuff, it existed in the years back, now, and it will exist because they are part of a culture of a people. Remember those days when they wanted to send a girl out for marriage. You will see this Kayamata stuff that they call today around the waist. They do exist.
That
Those
was
are beads.
traditional beads. They were not charm. It was
Those are, let me tell you, those are traditional beads. But for
But
you,
they have
there
something.
are so, you know, when
They
you
have
are
a role to
going
play.
when you are going out for marriage or to
Make you
dance or to
sexy.
dance
Sexier.
in a group, because in those days they used to dance.
Yeah.
You go and dance and they come and select. Those that want to marry come and select. Your parents look for those beats put on your waist, because when you go out there it will attract a man. Probably
You charm the man.
it will, I don't want to say charm.
It's
Charm.
charm.
It's attraction.
Call
It's
the
a
name.
force. It's attraction. That is knowledge. So I don't want to
Call the
bring it
name.
to say charm. It's not charm. It's attraction. It makes it attract somebody that will come towards you, and then when the person comes towards you, it works for him. Either you believe or you don't believe. It works. What she says that is very important is
There are different levels of
the
charm.
level of yes. I might believe in my beat for you, but you have another power that is stronger than that beat. The power that I have in that
The
beat,
power
it
bound.
doesn't work for you, but it can
The
work for
power.
X when I use it on. So those are cultural elements that do work. And why is it that it's always women? First of all, you know that in our society, the tendency of population, if you look at Cameroon, out of the
That's what men used to
25,000
fight women, huh?
out of the 25,000 Cameroonians, the 25 million Cameroonians that you have basically 8 million, or let's say 10 million or 12 men. What would the rest women do?
No. I have to correct that. It's a fallacy. It's a fallacy. At birth, the birth rate in Cameroon is 1.01 male child for every one woman. So at birth, there are more boys born than women. It's not only Cameroon, all of the whole world.
I will
So
still
there are more.
come back to tell you.
Now,
You know that
it's a very important fact. You can Google. Anybody can Google.
yes,
that.
I know that. But
Eventually, the population ratio, the male child is more vulnerable. So by
That is what I wanted to
but-
say.
but
That's-
even at that level, the population between man and woman is almost 1:1.
The ratio.
Even if there are 6 million Cameroonian, there will be 13 million women, 13 million men. If you round it to the nearest whole number, that's the point I'm trying to make.
it means that you and I, we are doing different research and we are getting
Yes.
different results.
The results are obvious. All
That's
over
what-
the world, not just Cameroon.
Yeah, I'm equally talking something of all over the world. When you go,
It doesn't depend on what we do personally. These
Yeah.
are data that are published by the World Bank and everywhere. And if it's
it's
there.
the same data that we do concern.
Okay, we'll talk
That
about
is
it more,
yes.
because I
That is
don't
why
know that you have
that is
to-
why I'm saying that the tendency why are women generally more than men, like you said, because men are exposed into activities that make them lost their lives more than women. And you know, men, you are a scientist, their immune system is not as stronger as that of, I don't know how to put it, but the tendency that a man dies quicker than a woman is
It's
always
usually
there.
hard work.
That is why you will have, even if it's not, if the proportion is the proportion is one
It's a 1:1.
Yeah,
That's it.
I do not really go by
It's
that.
it.
But
It is it. It's 1:1 means that even if you have 100,000 more women in a population of 25
Yeah, it
million,
doesn't
you still be
matter.
1:1.
okay, let me come again. And then why do these women? Why is it that these women are always very involved? Because when you look the proportion of the men, if you go, the men that are ready to get married, there are fewer. You will
One
see
out of 100 are-
out of them, so many men that you have, 5% of them are in prisons. The other percentages of them are mad. Then the other percentages of the men are children that cannot get married. So you find the women in a very difficult situation where you will see to get a man is not easy. So they tend to this.
But there are more. There are more married women in Cameroon than men. I can prove it without saying much.
Well, there are more married women in Cameroon than men because there is polygamy. That is why I'm telling you.
Every
So
one man that is married, there's a one woman married at least.
so that is why I wanted to make the point
Okay, go
that
ahead.
for women, you will see some men will say, okay, I want to have one wife. If you have one wife, what about the other women?
Forget
That other
about
woman
the other
will
one.
want
It's
to,
a one issue, man.
we want to come with Kayamata or something to attract the other men. Here you come again. So
We are talking
that
Kayamata.
they should not herself
left.
she shouldn't be left
No,
out.
that-
He should equally have the name of Eric on his name. He should have the name of Bono on her name.
Yes.
So that is the issue that has been causing all of this. And then you see, like I said before, most of Cameroonians youth, because you see this happen mostly now is dominated by the youth.
Even
The
women,
youth-
big women do use them.
yeah, they do use, but the proportion is
Married
more
women
dominant.
use them, they're in their husband's
the
houses.
youth.
Why are they using
Why
their
are they
matters?
doing it? Because Cameroonian youths are very lazy.
Don't put the blame on the youth. Men,
I'm not
women.
putting the blame. I'm saying on the youth. The youths are both men and are both
There's
female,
an
male and
age
female.
limit.
They are both female
You see
and
that all
men.
age
So
are like that.
that's why I'm saying that when you see, have you seen
This
a
laziness,
big
Abi.
woman gone mad in Boya? Have you seen even the recent one that happened in Tekase in
Women go
Yaoundé?
mad. You see
It
them
was a
walk
young
naked in
lady.
the
So
streets.
what I want to say was that when you look at these young women, they are lazy. They want to have cheap money. They want that when they apply it on you and then say, oh, I want to open a
subdue you and
salon,
you're
they just
under
come and
their
open it.
authority.
I want to go and eat in a Chinese restaurant, because most of this thing is to show up, to use it to show up that, okay, I can be able to put it on you, take you to a Chinese restaurant in Basto, snap pictures to show off to my friends that I deal with this type of people, I have this money. Recently, some even use it, had money, and then open places and then die off and allow it. So we are calling on the Cameroonian youths in general and the women folk particularly
You
to be
take some
serious,
message for the end.
to be serious, and then hardworking rather than counting on Kayamata that
Charm,
will only end them
voodoo,
in their early graves.
Tobasi, yes, precious. Why do you think girls endorse in this? Even some guys say there are guys that
Yes.
are doing sugar mommy
I
stuff.
just want to talk on
All
that
right.
side.
Mhm.
The truth is, a woman is a man generally is weak. Let me say, a man can be controlled just anyhow. A woman is born. That's why a man was created from dust and woman from
The
the
rib.
rib. So, in that case, it is 100 plus 111 that a woman can easily control a man, even if the man is a head. Just the fact that it is part of, let me say, it is the
Rib.
the rib.
The
I
bone
don't-
of
I
my
don't-
bone
I
and
don't
the
want to
flesh
call
of
it
my
the rib.
flesh.
Let me say a strong pillar that
Yeah.
that
Must
holds
eat
the
trash.
man. So a woman can easily do that. The other side is that many women, or the basic education has not been given to these ladies or the men to understand that you have something that is even more than charm.
Where, my sister?
This thing of complex, people have a lot of complex, from inferiority complex to
all the complexes you can
superiority complex. They have that big issue from the moment that you feel like you're better off than somebody. I want to show off that you always
was
be
in the
better
Chinese
off than that
restaurant.
You want to
person.
stay on
You
that
want to be
level.
on the Chinese restaurant.
I'm driving a
you
car
want to
bought
ride.
by.
You
Those are
want,
the
you want to
things.
be on the plane, you want to be on all newspapers, you want
All
to be
these
on
rations
social
that we
media.
have.
Meanwhile, there is more than just that.
That.
By the moment that you understand that, you know, this person is better off than me, if I just had the eyes of this person, if I had this, that's where all of that comes.
Complex.
Now the problem, the men, there are men that have this big issue where the fear ladies with big inside.
Yeah.
When you
I
fear
go.
ladies with big inside, that woman, and let me say, you can die for that woman. Anything that woman says, yes, ma. Yes, ma. Why? It's not
What
because
do you mean by big inside? Just I want to understand.
a woman who
Independent or something.
that is okay. Let's call it
Independent ladies.
the feminists that people call now.
Okay.
Men get scared of them, but at the same time they will always want to prove themselves that they are men, even if you are a feminist.
No matter what you add that to it.
So just that fact that you have that complex where you think that the woman wants to, that time they say the woman wants to claim that she is this, she is this, she is this. So you get to a shoe, buy a shoe and wear that it is either bigger than you or smaller than you. There, that woman can say, hey, can use Kayamata, can do anything, and you will work on you. You want to prove a point, but she has her own back plan. And anything that happens to you at that moment, oh yeah, it goes. Now, how do men use charm on women? I'll go back to complex. By the time that you feel like you're not man enough, charm. By the time that you want to prove yourself having money, charm. By that time that you feel like the family around me or the people around me, they don't give me the respect. Charm.
You need to impose yourself.
You have to. Yes, you need to impose
So there's
yourself.
a weakness.
So
Yeah,
that
it's really-
weakness, that issue of self-love.
Yeah.
Well, if you love yourself,
Love yourself.
then you will search yourself. Let me go deeper now. You search yourself all round. Let me say from why you are who you are, from why your structure is. So when you love
And you
yourself,
accept all those things
you
the way they are.
accept it the way, and you brand yourself and sell it like hot cake in the market. That will be your charm. But the truth is, many people don't have self-love. And when you don't have self-love, charm is the next thing that you can go for anytime, anyhow. Nobody even needs to tell you. Nobody needs to whisper that. Just that fear in you that you don't have a place
Insecurity.
in the society.
Yeah,
On
complex.
the man's side.
So,
Tanya,
you're complex.
Yeah,
Can you,
yeah.
wait, I want to start with a question. Do you think people use charms, voodoos, tabasi, call them whatever, like call them RMB, like they call in Morocco?
Call them
Is it
knowledge.
because most men don't know how to zip their panties? They move on and now you want to own your own man?
That's a difficult one.
It's not difficult. No, we are more than the contractor. Like men don't zip, they just share their emotions and you want to own your own. It's like,
I want to queue up from where my sister just stopped. You see, she was talking about the women who are well-to-do upstairs there, who may be using that on some women. I want to feel that, as you're really saying, we live in a society where there are a lot of there's a lot of class stratification. Yes, so much so that you see people are always envious, and we know envy is a crime. It's a sin. People are envious. How I wish I were in the position of A, of B. How I wish I were riding in this flashy car. How I wish I were in a sumptuous flat. Those are the things which push us into all of what we're talking about here. You see, all of the unorthodoxies in the society are an emanation of what we are talking here today. Because when we feel that we are substandard, permit me use that, yeah, because in principle God created all of us equal, right?
Yeah.
But that equality doesn't mean that we were what do I touch there?
Like we resemble each other.
Yes.
We resemble God.
Yes, we
but
resemble
not each
God in
other.
principle. But I want to allude, take a biblical allusion or a Christian allusion. When you see, when the prophets, they prophesy to you, if you go lie down on your laurels, your prophecy will never come true.
Yes, you need to pray and back it up for it to manifest.
You get the point. So, and now when some people, when they get a prophecy, tomorrow you'll be a minister, and then you go, you find your bed, you lie on bed, thinking that
yourself.
tomorrow they'll call you, please, you've been appointed minister. Lies.
You need to work for it.
You have to work towards that prophecy. So, same thing, when you see this vacuum in the society, it is what is pushing people into getting all of the charms, as she was rightly saying it. And then you see this complex in society, inferiority, superiority complex. And it is those who feel inferior who are always going up to that because they want to meet up. Whereas in a society, I don't think that we're supposed to have to measure up. No, I should be like A, I should be like B. No, sir. Each and every one of us has his or her destiny. It may be delayed. And if God allows you to live, you get it. But if you want to push it through, that is where you go out for those nasty things. Permit me to call them nasty things.
Nasty things that
I wish to contribute something. He spoke about destiny. The truth is, when you use charm, what you had to have, you compress it because we human beings are living in time, the philosophy of time. There is before and after. So that before is time for you to walk. And if you don't walk and you use charm, everything that you are to have after It's
won't have it.
compressed. You're going to have it just at that time
Short time.
before, and the time where you have to have it, it's all over. So everything is exposed, and
Like you're
they're
chasing the
telling
wind.
you, yes, and that's the end of the story.
Dr. Rick.
Well, okay. I've heard a lot of. I'm just watching panelists. And I'm like, okay, this is ideal. Yeah, the truth is that I'm not saying that people don't go for others to take mixtures. But what you say, charm, you have
Concoctions.
listed concoctions and everything. And I believe that this underground economy, because the moment you distribute those things, people believe in you, and then some will work, some will not work. For those that you say work, and I put work in quotes, it will be you are doing. Then those that don't work, it's because X, Y had a stronger power than you. Let me keep this more simple. Let people understand. When you create a church and you have 1,000 followers,
Not Christians, please.
followers.
Most of them
And
this
it's
time
not about
around they are
that.
followers,
I
not
see,
Christians.
I see 20 young people getting married within the year, 10 people getting a job. And eventually within the year, 20 people get married, 10 people get a job. What I'll ask you is that take a random sample of 1,000 people of the same group. Just take random and see whether within that 1,000, 20 will not get married, 10 will not get a job. This is the same psychology they are playing on us. There's nothing the guy did. It's just that when you take a population, things happen. In a population, people have jobs, people get married. Population, people fall in love. People like people for reasons that you cannot explain.
Yeah.
People don't like people for reasons that you cannot explain. It's not because somebody because somebody met somebody to make something that happened. It's something that we need to understand. And I want to highlight here that the Christian, I'm a Christian, I'm not all of us are, the Christian view of creation is not the only view of how the West studies.
Yeah.
The Christian doctrine of God is not the only doctrine that exists.
Yeah.
And I can tell
And
you that
even
Christianity
the-
came.
it's even more smaller than if you
Other
compare to it might be the Islam. You see that Christianity, the percentage of those that believe in that are even
Okay, yeah.
smaller than.
If we want to push this argument further, we see that Christianity came to Africa about 500. Is it 500 years ago?
Years ago.
I'm not exact with that number. It could be less. So it's the colonization and all of that Christianity. If you follow the scientific data, which is proven, the world has existed for 4.5 billion years. It doesn't take enough math to know that when you add 4.5 billion to 500 million, it's still 4.5 billion. In other words, what Christianity has brought within this 500 is very insignificant compared to what we have lived before the coming of Christianity.
Yeah.
So we cannot summarize everything around the world towards the Bible. It's good. It's good and fine to have a moral backing like the Bible. We cannot put everything and examples and prophecy, everything just around that, because we existed before that. And we existed through a method of thinking and a method of approach.
That is the knowledge I was talking about.
I'll tell you one
African
thing
knowledge.
that put you Homo sapiens. If you go purely from the scientific perspective, I'm not talking about, let's just look at science. Forget about, I'm not saying that our religion doesn't exist, but let's look at science. We look at the scientific view of the world. What put Homo sapiens above the animal kingdom to make us where we are, from a purely scientific perspective, without religion and everything, is the ability to continuously question your environment. The early man, when he came and saw fire burning, he did not say, thank God, fire was burning, I prayed for God. He went and tested it. He took a stick and said, what is that? He touched it. Did it burn here? Why did it burn here? He touched it on somebody. And they started finding out how to reproduce this. And eventually he produced it. When he discovered weapons, he did not sit and pray to God that I have an enemy, give me something that will kill my enemy or whatever. He took a sharp, I followed a documentary on this, so I can say with some examples, even if they are not exactly how it happened. He took a sharp thing, and when he pierced him, he tested on the other guy and pierced. And discovered that if my enemy is that way and I use a weapon, he will not get me before I get him. And then the fact that they were working in group, they were thinking. In other words, Homo sapiens always question their environment.
Yeah.
And because of that, they became the top of the animal kingdom. They were able to challenge the lions who are stronger, the elephants and everything, and they took over the world. And we have discovered that it's only when you question your environment, you question it scientifically, then you move forward. If we are flying planes today, it's because people question. People said that why should we stay on the ground? Why can we not lift ourselves up? Why can we not be like the birds? They questioned, they went to the lab, they worked, and they produced plane. The moment we stop questioning the environment and asking questions that we can answer by our hard work, we degrade ourselves. We start talking about a dark cabinet.
No,
that
that is where I want to agree with you.
Good.
That when people question their environment, what do they create? They create cultural activities. They create cultural knowledge. You know, the same questioning that you were talking about, the question and then created a plane, created this, is the same questioning that people thought of the question the world and say, how can I make somebody to love me? They added something, and then that is why the love is existing. Those are all cultural elements that they do exist in our society. Those are knowledge that we cannot banalize. I come back to you to agree with you with the fact of these pastors, prophet, and all of those stuff. You know, it is because of the existence, this quest for what you cannot work for, that is making these people enjoy it today. Rush, it might be led our people to come to them this time around. Look at it. When you look at the population of the world, just India, China, Japan, if you look at the population they have, their population is almost equivalent to half of the population of the world. Are they Christians?
Oh.
They are not. Does it mean that they will die and go to hellfire?
No.
I don't think so. And when you add again the Muslim to it, are they Christians? No. Would they die and go to hellfire? No. Do my forefathers that existed million years ago that did not know about Christianity and whatsoever, does it mean that he is in hellfire today?
No, of course.
So those are cultural elements that we create that permits us to live.
What you said is knowledge. I'm more inclined to agree with some aspect of that. If you put it this way, because again, before the Western medicine came to Africa, we had medicine.
Yeah.
And the medicine was not what we are seeing. It's people using mixtures of the natural environment. And that knowledge is passed down to over generations. And through that, we survive. If not, they will not have met us, right?
Yeah.
We survive among the 4.5 billion years before they are coming. We were here. We were here doing our thing, our way, and succeeding. Then out of a sudden, you know, it's all about everything. We cannot make a statement without quoting religion. We cannot make a statement without thinking.
Yeah.
There's some magic, and I agree with her that there's a quest for cheap lifestyle, cheap success, and everything. But I believe that if we go back to the roots, if we become back Homo sapiens, I want to be said, we are not the modern man. We come back Homo sapiens, and we start questioning our environment and focusing on solving problems using solutions that we can find, we can do. I think we're in a better path. And all the so-called charms and whatever will just be nothing to us.
All right, thank you. Okay, do we need charms to live? Do I need charm to make a man love me like wholeheartedly?
Well, from the analysis we've gotten here, from all of the co-panelists, I think the pros and the cons are there. Some need it because they are unable to cope with the standards. Some don't need it because they are coping with the standards. So it's a two-way traffic.
Some forcefully want to.
Yes, it's a two-way traffic. Because in as much as I may not need it, you may need it, the other person may need it. There's no way deviating someone from saying, okay, I won't get into this or I won't get into this. Some people want to get it, so you cannot deter. We saw what happened in Boya. She needs it in order to fill a vacuum in her life.
And there are men, she says that she used it on one guy in Boya and the guy is all over her, but she does not like the guy every day. The guy is bugging her. At times it becomes a problem.
So you see, that's what I'm saying. Every situation of the sort has its pros and its cons. Yes, because in as much as you feel that you go for the charms, you go for either the voodoos and all the like, and the advantages therein are short-lived, very, very short-lived. She did say it when she was talking about destiny, that when you compress it before its due time, when the time comes, it is just watered. It just goes through. You don't feel it at that time because you had already compressed it, consumed it in a fake manner. Call it that way. Whereas if you had persevered, if you had that patience to wait for the appropriate moment, you consume it to the fullest.
With happiness.
Precious Papa, is it because people think a patient dog dies of hunger?
No.
Not in the fattest but that will do
The
that.
truth is, everybody has a charm. Like he's
Natural
sitting there,
charm.
you have an
Natural,
Yes.
yeah.
but you have not understood it. So when you're going to look for the charm, like giving birth, your charm that you don't even know that.
That's a possess.
That's a good one.
They just give you the charm, but you have the what, like for example a balloon, which is you have a balloon, you know this is a balloon. So what they only do is they blow it, then it
Expands.
It expands. After some time it bursts. That's what happens. That's the philosophy of charm. So when you understand that you have a charm, you understand how it has to function and the step-by-step way how it functions. I think you don't need to go ask anybody for any charm.
Chevono, what impact can charm? Do you say that's knowledge?
That is knowledge.
What impact can use knowledge have?
Well, you know.
The knowledge that has negative.
Well, that is why I say,
negative.
like
let's
the
say
conventional knowledge and the traditional knowledge, all do have the pro and the cons.
Let's focus on the cons.
Well, with
What
this,
impact can
with
this
when we
have?
talk of Kayamata and
I've seen people that testify that it ate charm over and over and over and over, and of course it develops some kind of illnesses and diseases.
Well, that is some of the disadvantages of it. But when we talk of this knowledge, this African knowledge that people use to attract other people towards them, you know, like I said, in those days it was meant only for those who are either looking for a husband,
For the
and
brides to
a lady that is going out for marriage. You have it so that when you go home, your husband doesn't. You maintain you maintain it might be order in your family so that your husband doesn't look outside.
Okay.
But nowadays, these young girls get hold of it, and then the young girls and young boys that are misusing. That is why they are having the after effect that they do have. And we can only ask them not to be to avoid it. Use it for the right purpose for which it was meant to be used. Because when you use it out of context, it will equally bring you out of context effects.
Out of proportion, and the men become their slaves. Dr. Eric, if you were to give one
I
word.
just say you are responsible for your action. If you want to succeed, you work hard. If you want to be loved, be nice to people, you will fall in love with some. And some will fall in love with you.
Not everybody must
Yes.
love you, of course.
And then if you don't worry about the dark cabinets.
Dr. Eric is a militant of the
Hey, please.
and then you know they have very stiff positions.
well, so far so good. I hope the listeners, the viewers, they were watching and they've taken home something. I don't supposed to tell you where you're supposed to belong because Precious said it that we have everybody has his or her charm, but when you go out to look for the artificial charm, they give you the real charm which is in you. So finally, you don't know where you belong.
What will I say? I will just say, make right use of your natural charm, and I believe what you really need, not what you want, will be placed on your table.
And learn to love yourself.
And don't love yourself,
but to love you.
100%.
All right, we're dashing into topic 2. We'll have about 30 minutes to just because the charm stuff was our focus for today. We wanted to feel the society and what goes around. We've been talking about hard work. Maybe before we round up, we are going to have a short excerpt. Precious was doing something wonderful. You know, when you keep yourself busy and you're working, those things will fall on you. Blessings will fall on you. Money will fall on you, and you don't need that cabinet. That's what it says. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we signed out topic 1 of the day. We're dashing into topic 2, which is Bia's visit to Swiss. This one visit that has come with a lot of hitches. Recently, first, the president tried to stay long in the country without going out, and we were like, why is he not going out? Is he okay? Are you sure it's okay? And now finally decides to take a short visit to Swiss. Is still another problem. Tanya, what finally do we need? People were crying for Biado overstay. He has not gone out. Now he goes out. It's a problem.
When you posed me that searching question, I want to put up my thinking cap before I answer the question.
Please do.
Not because I don't have the answer to that question, but when I look at the environment, the atmosphere surrounding that visit, the president was in the country for 20 months, roughly 2 years, without going to his other country.
Visiting Uncle Tom.
No, his other country. Because we know when he was very strong and healthy for the past 30 years or so, he hardly made 6 months in Cameroon, was always often there. But this time around, the wahala is coming about as a result of the fact that we have the COVID-19 palaver. We have the far north region, Boko Haram. We have the northwest southwest war, which is very ravaging. And you see, when the president takes a French leave and wants to maybe have a rest, our disgruntled brothers over there, you know, some of them are very frustrated, we must say it, because they went there through unorthodox means. And what is so vexing is the fact that, Frida, if you know how much a night stay of the president cost at the Continental Hotel in Switzerland, that is the vexing thing about all of this thing. Apart from that, Parliament had just wind up with the COVID game palaver, which nobody wanted to bring on board. So all of those things, they came like a beehive, a bombshell, and they just needed somebody to let it explode. The president is a human being, natural human being like any one of us, and he needs rest. And for those top-ranking officials, they have their rest almost after every quarter of the year. So if he had overstayed and then now he wants to take a leave, I don't see why it should be problematic, apart from the reasons I did state at the beginning. Nevertheless, Cameroon has problems, and that is the message the people want to transmit to him. When you look at the situation which happened in Switzerland, and then the situation we're having in Cameroon these days, there were manifestations over there in Switzerland, in Europe, but in Cameroon people cannot manifest. Why then do you want them to manifest? In heaven? In heaven there is no disorder. All of this disorder, we must have it here and fix it so that when we go to heaven, there is peace, there is tranquility. So all of what I want to say is it's rather unfortunate that all of what we're having now is happening. But the blame is incumbent on the state officials, because they rather want to treat the consequences than treat the causes.
They rather want to treat the consequences than they treat the causes. Dr. Eric, do you think that this sortie, this outing that the president made is going to bring us some fruitful results, as in maybe coming back and having a cabinet reshuffle, or maybe even coming, okay, I lay my case, I want to take rest? Do you think something good can come of it?
We don't hope anymore in this country, but I will talk from a personal perspective. You know, Mr. Biya is a human being. From that personal perspective, he deserves to have a rest if he chooses to.
Yeah.
He has his right to rest wherever he wants in the world. He can go to the US, can go to Switzerland, to go to a hotel, can go wherever he wants. He's a human being, he deserves it. When I want to rest, I prefer to rest in Cameroon. Go there. There's a beautiful beach in Kribi. There's a wonderful city of Linde. You know, the far north has this stony landscape that is very attractive. You go across the savannah of the Adamawa, and you go to the Litoga and everything. It's just wonderful. We have a blessed country.
Yeah.
Rest can be effectively done in this country. That's one thing. So for that, there's no problem.
All right.
Then the next thing is that we don't know where he is. He's the president of Cameroon. You don't know where he is, and we don't worry. I don't worry about that for one reason, because when he's in, nobody sees him. When he's in Cameroon, he's nowhere to be found. So whether he goes out or he's in is not the problem. The problem is that he's still the president of Cameroon. That is where the problem is. If an individual wants to rest, go and rest where he wants to rest. But as long as he's the president of Cameroon, he's carrying that crown of Cameroon, then we now need to know where he is. Where is the president of Cameroon? Is he doing the job of a president of Cameroon? If he's going to take a break, should he not tell us, Cameroonians, taxpayers, because we are the one paying for it? We talk about the money that is spent. It's our money. It's our taxpayers' money. It's not coming from his pocket. It's coming from us. So we need to know where he is. And then there are rumors of health. We don't know that because he has not said any information. But let me say it's a health treatment. Tell us, so that we can also pray for you. Because we are religious people. We like praying. If somebody is sick, we always pray that the person will come. Tell us the problem. We'll pray for you. We'll advise you that perhaps if you take more rest and you retract from that position, you might be better off otherwise. This is just what we want, and so it's not from a personal perspective.
Yeah.
When we look at Mr. Biya as an individual, we don't have to know him. He's a father of family. He's a grandfather. He's whatever it is. He has a beautiful family, beautiful wife. He has the right to go out and rest and whatever. That there's no problem. The problem is that he's the president, and there's a war in the northwest and the southwest, and somebody has to take a decision. He's not there to take it. The problem is that in the far
war has
north,
been going on for 5 years.
and he's never been present. So why is he remaining the president of Cameroon? That is the question we need to ask. Honestly, there's a constitutional part in this country where he's not the first person to resign. Let's say he could not stand the embarrassment of losing an election, so he decided to fraud and win. After that, you can still resign. Ahijo resigned and he took power. Anjo Maribida resigned and Ahijo took power. So there's a sequence of resignation in Cameroon. If you cannot perform the duty of a president, you can resign and live a happy life thereafter. I cannot overemphasize this. We don't have to have a president that is absent. That's not doing his duty as a president. And we have a constitutional part. Our constitution clearly states what will happen at the resignation of the president. When the president resigns, the next person in line should take over for a period of between an organized election between 40 and 120 days. I think that's it. In which you will not be candidate. So everybody, other candidates, and the Cameroonians will choose somebody who is capable of ruling this country. And then the person will be faced with the realities of Cameroon. If the person is not fit, we can defeat the person in the next election, or we can ask him also to resign. It's that simple.
Next election.
What is so wrong in that?
All right.
Okay.
I want to come back to one story on the papers. This what they were saying. Paul Biya dribbles Cameroonians. You know, people were expecting it was announced that he was to come back a few days ago, but he did not come. Last Sunday, and it is said somewhere, whispered, that the big fishes in the nation's political capital are in panic. Chebono, you and I will love the president so much. You understand? Do you think the president not returning for now should be a worry to the big fishes?
Well, talking about the big fishes, it's but normal that if your boss is not around, you should be you should be waiting for him with joy, knowing that he might be to rest. Remember that the president most often in most of his resting visit, has always come back in the country with a lot of stuff. You know that there is something I've tried to study about the person of Paul Biya, and I've discovered that is that type of person who doesn't talk so much. He prefers that actions speak for him. But most people, political icons nowadays, political leaders nowadays, they speak they make more noise than
Yes,
action.
yes.
That is why you see them on the Facebook shouting, writing, insulting, hate speech, and all of those. That is why you see some of them even out there, come out, marching, do this noise. They don't do action. This man is somebody who acts. Who acts rather than talking, and we've seen many of the projects that are going on in the country now, that are Long Pangad, it is even with the small brother that I have. It is during some of these days that he stays out, come back, partnership, and all of those that we are seeing them today. His rest today in where he is, could just come back with that magic solution that we are even needing to solve the Anglophone, the North. He might just come back with that magic solution, and most often when he comes back, he comes back with bundles of solution. Well, yeah, you see, what worries me most is what Cameroonians, I don't know how to call it, yes, Cameroonians out there reacted when he's out. It's but normal, because some of these people, like Mr. Kufo said, they are frustrated. And when you look at those people out there that came out and were destroying stuff, even after the Swiss government did ban it, that we don't want manifestation, they still came out. You will see that there are three categories of people. The first category are those that have dual nationality, and you know what Cameroon law holds about dual nationality. The second category of people are those that are living out there that don't have papers, sans papier. Another categories of people are those that live here under very difficult conditions. It might be they did concours, they did this. I even have one, I saw one of them who left Cameroon through the ship, entered the ship without paper, and then when they go there, and then because you could not stay here, persevere and do work like Doctor and I here doing, because somebody, let me take Doctor for example. He was recruited recently in the university. If it was some other person, maybe he would have gone to the embassy to be working and saying that I don't have a job up till now. But when the opportunity came, he was recruited. So we can only salute that type of effort. We can salute that type of citizenship that they portray. So you see these people, when they sit there, they know that me that doesn't have dual nationality, I'm interested in politics, but the Cameroonian law doesn't tell me. What do I do? Let me spoil everything for everybody. The other person, I don't have papers. Even if I do what I do,
I stand to lose nothing.
So these are frustrated people that just want to yes. You see most of them. Let me even come back to what those that are putting fire in these things that is happening in our regions. You see, most of them were leaders in the student association in the University of Buea. Some of them left without even having certificate. You see, and why in Buea you were hearing of strikes, all of those are the same people. So they have that culture of always doing this. It is not something new. But what I like about the President Paul Biya, is that when you do that, you do it for yourself. He is working for Cameroonians. He is concentrating and doing work for Cameroonians, and that work he has been doing has been bringing progress to the country in his own level. Well, we know that there is no perfection in the world. Even in heaven, there is no perfection. If there was perfection, Lucifer wouldn't have left heaven to become the devil. So it means that even in Cameroon, we cannot talk of perfection. Anybody in the exercise of your duty, you can hurt somebody or hurt people in your own way of exercising your duty. It is even us at our own little level, even us at the level of the family. You cannot satisfy your children all the time. You cannot satisfy everybody all the time. So it's but normal that there are some people that will have grudges here and there. It's but normal. But he is doing the work Cameroonian mandated him to be doing, and he's doing that so well. And I even appreciate the way that he did it. Why? Because he doesn't make noise. They used to say vessels. They make a lot of noise, and we are seeing it. You see, look at what just happened with the recent election.
Thank
Somebody who participated and could not even score 15% in the election is making noise all over.
Thank you, Chairman.
And two persons, they make a lot of noise. It's okay.
Any
They can make
expectations, like awaiting the return of the president? Is there anything as a Cameroonian youth that do you have any expectations?
Before getting there, I will just say something. In any government or in any association, the most powerful thing is communication. So I understand the people out there that their biggest problem, they are frustrated because there is lack of communication. It's true, as he said, that the president is a silencer. He works. In general, when you want to go deeper in personality, studying personalities, he's a melancholy. That means he's a soft person.
Yeah.
And being a soft person and you're a great thinker, many at times people don't even know what you're up to and how you are doing it. And when it's at that point in time where everything is going all wrong, so there is always a backfire and there's that rejection of your government and
what you do.
Expecting something.
Let me just clear something. When we talk of communication, when the president was going out of the country, there was an unofficial communication that he's going out to rest.
Okay. So he's not working for Cameroonians, he's resting.
No, everybody has, like Doctor said, everybody has a right.
He's going to rest. That is good.
Everybody have the right to leave. You work.
It is right.
When we are talking of communication, the truth is we are 5 years gone, and many things are going wrong. The youth, the mothers, the fathers, the children, they don't know what is working on the ground. There's no solution. We still find and hear the sound of the gun.
The solution
we
isn't
still
enough.
see blood flowing. So now, when we're talking of communication, it's not he is going out for a race. Now we're talking of communication is what is the solution?
How far
at this point in time, people want to know solutions. They don't want to get we are about doing. They want to get solutions. They want to find the results already. And expecting something like a result from the president, I can't say anything for now. As I said earlier, he's a silencer. You only get the bomb happening and everything. And it's 5 years. We have hoped. We have waited.
And let's keep hoping.
Let's keep hoping. So we are waiting.
All right. I have some short messages. It's true that time is running out. Let me take even 3 of the messages. No WhatsApp. Right. This one says, good afternoon. My name is Johnson. I am watching you guys from Monte-Jovans. I want to talk about the Kayamata issue in Buea. I want to say that just like the panelists on CERT, it's only people that are complex that will run for that. And on the second point, if you allow yourself for Kayamata to be used on you, then it's going to be used on you. The attitude of men determines how girls are going to use them. Thank you. Okay. All right. This one says, good afternoon. I'm Rodrigue. I'm writing from Bonamusadi, Yaoundé. I want to say that Kayamata is not only in Buea, it is everywhere in Cameroon. So men should learn to stand up rightly. Thank you, Rodrigue. Thank God you're a man. Are you talking to men? Good afternoon. I am Johnson. I'm writing from Damas, Yaoundé. I want to say that the president's visit to Swiss is not going to yield any fruit because he has been going for the past 5 years. Nothing has changed. We cannot wish for anything more to come from that visit. All right, we could take 3. Thank you. Our time is running up. We can't read all the messages. Zako, for your take-home message for today.
Well, take-home message, Kayamata, we've spoken about it, and we think people will know where to belong. And I want to say, getting back to our sister, as you did say, your destiny is in you and not in somebody else.
Your charm.
Yes, your charm is in you and not in somebody else. It may be delayed, but it will come. But if you want to go for the fake one, when the right moment comes, all of it must have been watered down.
You'll be chasing the wind.
And then concerning the visit of the president to Switzerland, I think proud to visit. People were talking about an eminent talk, dialogue between the secessionists and the government. But I thought the president was going there on that account. But it's rather unfortunate he's going on a personal account.
It's going to rest.
Whereas the country is burning. I talk with a bleeding heart because for the past 2 weeks or so, the number of uniformed officers and soldiers who've been brutally murdered is a cause for concern. And of recent again in the far north region, we saw what happened with the Boko Haram attacks. We just got to say we need peace. And thank God the women are at the conference center trying to preach peace. And I want to believe that they will not only preach peace, but the peace they are preaching should be put into practice. Because it doesn't suffice preaching peace. Jesus gave us peace. But now we can't give peace, but we must practice peace.
Right, Doc, your parting words.
Well, I'll be first. I want to talk a little about the Cameroonian diaspora. Because I believe that there's a very bad misconception of the Cameroonian diaspora. Frida, if you look at the Cameroonian diaspora, they are the most educated in the US. I can tell you, if you rank the world, of all diaspora in the world in the US, Cameroon is ranked among the top 3 in terms to level of education. You go to Europe, Germany, you see that the best engineers and doctors are Cameroonians. And I'll tell you, there are 2 types of diaspora you can look. There are people who go out of the country and forget their country of origin, as if it doesn't exist. And then they just live their life and live a happy life with their family. It is a blessing to have people who have gone out of this country, enjoying the luxury of the country, but still worry about what happens back home. I can tell you what these people send to their family at home is helping to sustain the economy. So I will not allow people to say that these are people who are frustrated, they are this and that. No. These people contributed a lot of money to help in the COVID cases, and we saw what Suivi Cameroon Survivor Initiative did. Thanks to the contribution of the Cameroonian diaspora, Cameroon has a wonderful diaspora. And when these people come out and strike and sacrifice their day, it's not because they lack something to it. It's because they care a lot about our country, that they want to put pressure on the leadership to do something. Now, talk about the lack of communication. You know, when somebody doesn't communicate, like Pierre doesn't do, it's because, first of all, he's a very bad communicator. Every time he opens his mouth to speak, it's a catastrophe. He talk about apprentice sorties. He talk about you cannot be president unless you cannot, what does it say, keep. So I'm president because I can, not because the Cameroonian people have decided. And then, so when you look at the sequence of discussion that he has put out there, they are very provocative. So sometimes I prefer him to stay quiet because he's not a good communicator. He cannot rally people around an idea. He cannot rally the mass in a way that you can cause a change. So, in that sense, and it's one of the most important thing about leadership. Leadership is about to communicate an idea to people. Once you cannot do this, you cannot be a good leader, and that's why Cameroon is falling apart. He's just there to satisfy an elite group that he has created. And then the next part we talk about elections. I will never let the CBDM lecture us on who the Cameroonian people choose in 2018. Honestly, when we talk about 32 missing PVs, result tally, departmental result tally sheet, that is 32 of 58. It's not of 25,000. We have 58 divisions, and from the 58 divisions, the results are tallied and brought out, and from the 58, they could not produce 32. And it's based on that Mr. Biya was declared winner. And we have asked them to bring it, let's look, let's count it, let the independent commission count it. If at the end of that counting, Mr. Biya comes out the winner, we'll be the first to congratulate him. He doesn't have the courage to do that, and the CPDM machine doesn't have the courage to do that. And that's why even at the Constitutional Council, he doesn't appoint people that are not loyal to him, because he doesn't trust his own popularity. It's that simple. That's why we're calling on an electoral code, but it's better for him to resign so that a pure and good electoral code will put Cameroonians to action. This is the fact. This is a fact. No, we cannot let CPDM tell us that they can beat us in the election when they don't want a transparent electoral system. It's not coherent. And so finally, on the charm thing, and I stood again with a good push. I just believe that if you go out there, you can be loved. The world is created for everybody to find love, for everybody to find success. It all depends on your hard work. Be hardworking, meet people, and you fall in love with them.
Work. Chebonu, your parting words. I saw you laughing and drinking beside me when Doctor was talking.
Well, we are here, especially me, I'm here as an analyst, not as a civilian.
I know.
So, trying to analyze something is not a position of the civilian.
Of course.
It's my own
Analysis.
that I give.
Your critical eye that
Critical
you used to
analysis.
say.
And from my critical analysis, I would beg that Cameroonians, they need everybody on board. It is so disturbing to see that we are having troubles in the northwest, in the southwest, and in the far north with the Boko Haram. It's very disturbing, and all of this, it is Cameroonian that is Cameroon that is losing. It is not Paul Biya that is losing. Then everybody has his or her own contribution to make so that Cameroon can emerge, and as such, the diaspora has a great role to play. And that was why when I was categorizing the diaspora, you have the good ones that are there that really think about the country. There are some that even think that it's good we share this country, let me say my own and remain me there. It has nothing to do with me. Those are the type of people that you will see them destroying Cameroonian properties, like the embassies, like, the president is like an institution in Cameroon, and then when you go out and your own people come out to sham, to destroy people's properties because of your presence, that is the type of diaspora that will say they are the frustrated type. The normal ones, they behave normally. You see how they support Cameroonian government in their activities, even in the Savo that is going on, you see a huge diaspora that is represented. So it's something we really need to. We equally beg that
to develop our knowledge.
Our president, that like he has always done each time he goes out of the country, that this time around it might be he's coming back to just be that magic solution to ending this crisis.
Let's hope so.
It's still like Tanya said, there were speculations that it might be discussions were going on and all of something. We don't know. It's only somebody that only communicate with action. When he comes back, we'll see the actions, and I believe that Cameroon,
the actions are going to gladden the hearts of Cameroonians.
All true. And then
fast.
When we come to Kayamata,
developing African knowledge.
African knowledge, we can only say use it
the right
way. This Kayamata is not for everybody. There are people who are meant to use Kayamata. Kayamata, I don't want to look at the negative. I don't want to overemphasize on the negative aspect of it, because those using it for negative side are just the frustrated type that I want to call here, or those that are fighting in between superiority complex and inferiority complex. Believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, you can always have what you want. When you believe and you are hardworking, stop being a lazy somebody, because all of what is causing all of this is laziness. When you are a youth, you are a lady, you are a man, you don't want to work, you want to just grab anywhere without working. That's where you will end up yourself being kayamatized, and then at the end of the day, we see you growing mad and all of those. So we advise the young people there to believe in yourself, have confidence in yourself. If you want to meet a lady, meet the lady, convince the lady, let the lady see in you somebody he can.
The lady should buy your ideas.
You should buy your ideas and then go for it. If you are a lady,
African knowledge.
Compose yourself. In Africa we have African women. A good lady that will always attract everyone.
Know how to carry yourself.
Is that type of lady that will say, hey, husband, boyfriend, don't do this. Please, if you do this, you can generate this income for us. You have to do give advice, portray a good image to that man, and then he will fall in love with you naturally.
Okay.
Kayamata.
No Kayamata. Precious.
What would I say? I would say, okay, let's just keep on hoping, praying for our country, hoping that everything will be okay. And for the Kayamata issue, when you love somebody, struggle to know the love language of the person. That's one great charm. Once you know the love language of that person, I bet you there's love. We have love languages like care, we have services, we have so many. Just go download it and you know. Once you see somebody, you know that
I'll
that person,
come to your school.
you know that that's the charm.
Yeah.
And once you start practicing it,
And that's
I bet
right.
you it moves and it works.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, you heard from the people in the house. I don't know what I can add. They have said a lot for the Kayamata users. Girl, love yourself. If you love yourself, Sha, you bring people to love you. You know how to carry yourself now. Just you do it away. Anyway, we want to thank you for being with us this afternoon. Today you are in the company of Chair Clement Bono, my closest neighbor to my left, and you have the man with the hat. My closest neighbor to my right, at the extreme right, you have Dr. Eric, and of course, the guest of the day was Precious Piper. I want to say thank you for being us, and say thank you to the technicians of battling himself, sweating to bring these beautiful images and the sound you've got this afternoon. Thanks for watching. Don't go away, for we have more programs on your way. From us to you is have a blessed weekend ahead.